So hello and welcome to another Wargame Red Dragon video with me, Bubblebox, and today we're continuing with the deck building series that I normally do with Silver Raptor, and last time did one with Vulcan, but today we've got some more special guests from YouTube. We've got Raptor, he of the Rapak, who I'm sure you all heard of if you're into the Wargame series. We've got BoltSauce from the Saucy Network, and also we've got I Am Noise as well. So check out their links in the description below. Hello guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
So we're going to crack on really quickly with the logistics, and I believe Raptor's going to help me with this. What have you got with your logistics then, Raptor?
Well, I'm looking at the EuroCorps now, and though I don't play as EuroCorps as much as I'd like to, obviously one of the most important things of this deck anyway is the mobility that you have and the armor that you have as well.
Yep.
And that's interesting because you've got two things to consider here: commands and also supplies. So it's, you know, the logistics tab for command and supplies are often overlooked. So usually whenever I play with Germany or with EuroCorps in general, I always bring the Fufu with, due to the fact that you've got that high-speed amphibious movement as well as the high speed on the road. It's a fantastic vehicle to lead back as it's only 120 points, or bring up to the front as it's not that huge of a sacrifice compared to the KDOW. And also you've got like the Leo 1, for example, for the command as well, or even the AMX-30B. So those are good armored commands, and also speed-wise. And of course you've got the infantry as well, and which I would suggest bringing probably the Ferungs group in Adorner 205 for flanking and or quick caps in the middle. And then for supplies, I always love bringing the Jupiters and the Man-Caddy 6x6s, and I see a lot of people use those a lot, so those are obviously good. And when it comes to the German or French fob, it all just depends on what kind of bread you like on your butter.
That's right, yeah, and I really like those Fuchs as well. I haven't got them in my deck, but I do like them for their speed. Especially you can get them out of trouble. They can move really quickly if they're getting artillery, for example. And I've got the Man-Catties as well, the 6x6s. I like a bigger truck so I don't have to micro the small ones around too much. Myself, I've got a couple of commands. I've got the I can't pronounce it, the Fernspawner groupers in the Dorniers, and also I have got, you might not like this guys, the Leopard 2 command tank as well.
I like that.
And I'll tell you why. The only reason I got it is because it's one of the it's the most expensive ground unit, and I just had to have it in my deck, and that's the only reason I've taken it.
That's a good reason, though. That's a good reason.
Got to have it, haven't you? 170 points, but hey, you know, you can stick it somewhere if you're playing a conquest game. And then, yeah, for my logistics, as well as the Man-Catties, I've also got a set of choppers, 85-point choppers, because I don't like microing around my logistics too much, so get a bigger chopper, just keep it safe. And I've got a fob as well. And that's it for my logistics. Has anyone else got anything interesting?
I was surprised it took you guys that long to bring up the CH-53. I love that helicopter. It has so many supplies. You can kind of tuck it up, and if you're kind of overextending a little bit too much, you can bring it up, and you got a load of supplies waiting for you if you need to retreat a little bit.
Yeah, and it's fast, 320 Ks,
Yep.
So it's really fast, backwards and forwards to the fob as well. Yeah. So we'll move on to the infantry. And I think that was BoltSauce. You were going to do the infantry, weren't you?
Yep.
Yep. Head off.
All right. So, yeah, in my initial rush with helicopter-borne infantry or airborne infantry, I would probably go for Fallschirmjäger 90s.
Yeah.
It's a 10-man squad elite training. They are really good against infantry with that 1 MG3 and that HK G11.
Yeah.
And they can also just basically wreck any tank from the front with that Panzerfaust 3.
Mm-hmm.
And basically Yes?
What have you got them in?
Well, after that, Fallschirmjäger 90, I basically have Commander Marines, which is a 15-man elite infantry, which is, I think, more focused on infantry battles, because it has a better, it has higher caliber assault rifles, or carbines, actually. Actually, no, it's assault rifles. But, yeah, if you put those two in a town, Commander Marines can basically support with infantry, and the Fallschirmjägers can just take down any tank possible.
Absolutely, yeah. And what have you got your Commander Marines coming in? What vehicle?
I put them in the Puma 330H Pirate.
Uh-huh.
It's basically not a lot of difference between that and the Puma 330H, 5 points, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Fallschirmjäger 90 is in the CH-53G because of the speed. And if I play on a smaller map, I usually put them in like Dorniers because the 53G just take like half an hour to land.
Okay. Yeah.
You just lose your speed bonus from that in small maps.
Yeah. What else have you got in your infantry?
Basically, to support those airborne troops with groundboard troops, I have some Panzer Grenadier 90s and those Marder 2s, which are just amazing.
Yeah. Really good value for money, they.
Oh yeah, just 10 point or 10 front armor on those 35 point APCs, which is amazing, and a 50mm cannon on top.
Yeah.
And basically, yeah, it can basically do a lot of damage to tanks as well with 6 AP, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And
Anti-air?
anti-air, yes, I have 6 Mistrals, and I have put them in the... Yeah, they're just so good. 5 HE, really good accuracy as well. And I basically put them in the cheapest possible transport, which is the AMX 13 VTT.
Yeah, I've done exactly the same. Just bring them in something cheap, yeah.
That's funny, because I went for the opposite. I usually like sticking my special weapons teams like the Mistrals and the Milans in Panthers, so if I do that early helo rush, I can have some Panthers to kind of dispose of any kind of transport infantry I would see on the other team. Kind of a little bit of effective, kind of a plan B kind of deal.
Yeah.
Can also work, yeah.
Yep.
And then basically, I don't have any ATGMs in my regular EuroCorps deck. I just have like Jaegers to basically support wherever needed and just fill up any gaps.
Cool. And is that your 5 slots filled?
Yep, let's see. 2 Elite, 1 Panzer, yep, Manpads and Jaeger.
Yeah, basically I've gone fairly similar. I've got the Mistrals and the AMXs. I've got Panzer Grenadiers as well, but I've got 2 lots of them. 1 lot in the Marder 2s, but I've also got a lot in very cheap 5-point trucks of death, the M113 A1Gs, and the reason for that is, you can bring them in en masse because you get a lot of them. You get 14 at Harden then, and you can just bring them in for infantry fighting with their close quarters combat machine gun and stuff if you need them. And I've got Commando Marines in VABs as well, and I've got some ATGM F3s in VABs as well. That's my infantry. Has anyone else got anything interesting or different?
Yeah, I'm wondering, you guys don't like the Legion 90 with their Erixes?
They're good.
Yeah, they're decent. I haven't got them. There must have been a reason. Can't remember what it is off the top of my head, to be honest. But they're
that irks you got to get in close. But
yeah, it's kind of...
It's always a heavy hitter, always.
I feel like it's kind of a playstyle thing. Like, if I knew I was going for Helo and then support afterwards, I would definitely go for the Legion because I would drop the Mistrals and the Milans like I was talking about, maybe some Fallschirmjäger, and then there's not much that can take a town with those in it. You know, you can. I've done many a game where I drop a couple Legion, a couple Panzer Grenadiers, some Mistrals and Milans, and that they will stop most things that are going at it because the Milans hit them from really far away. They get closer, they hit the Milans and the Legion. They get too close, you got the Panzer Grenadiers hitting you. There's not much that can get into that town real easily. So that's usually what I like. And if you know you're going to do an airborne drop.
Yeah, cool. Anybody else?
No, that's a good point.
Shall we move on to the support then?
Yes.
And, I think we're back onto Raptor again. Raptor, what have you got in your support for your deck?
Right, so I think obviously, again, like with the logistics deck, or really with any of these, or with that tab, like with infantry, you've got to consider multiple different things as well as you do with logistics. And again, with support, a lot of people may pass it to the wayside as well as vehicles, but support is almost indefinitely the key to winning a lot of battles. If you want to keep air superiority, sometimes can be won on the ground if you're bringing the right units. And obviously, if you're trying to push ahead and take territory and keep it, something like the VPM 120 is going to help you to do that with its high speed and its ability to fire a very long range with a very good dispersion. That's a vehicle that's going to help you to hit medium targets as well as smoke out of town and push the enemy back while you capture it, and then bring up something such as Flak Panzer, Geopard A1s or A2s or FRP Roland 3s. I think it's important to bring a medium price or even a high price AA unit, as like you had said earlier, Bubble. The most important thing for players like you and I in our play style is that micro can be a lot of the times where you're going to really take a hit if you're having to manage so much. So with a VPM 120 for artillery, and with the the Flak Panzer A2 or even the AMX 30 Roland 3, that's going to really help determine or rather deter the enemy from trying to take your position, as well as obviously I have to highly recommend the Mars launcher as well for long-range artillery. I'm just hearing don't leave home without it from the Rat Pack now, because, or even I guess comparably as well as the M220, they're both fantastic vehicles for reaching out and trying to hit the enemy. That's really extremely important in terms of early game push and to keep the enemy back and to immediately attack and get in there and hold that territory, which is extremely important in both destruction or in conquest. And of course you got light mortars as well and other things to consider. I always enjoyed vehicles like the VAB VDAA and the Mistral, but they just don't have that kind of power anymore. And traditionally I think France and Germany in air-land battle and earlier in Red Dragon were factions that were very underpowered when it came to AA. But obviously with these added vehicles and, you know, working in conjunction with aircraft and with shoulder-launched anti-aircraft man-pads, you're going to have a real winner if you're taking a town.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that support is, I reckon, probably one of the most, if not the most important set of units, and I always have 5. I mean, in my deck, I've got Crotals, which have been nerfed a little bit, I believe, in the last patch, but they're still very, very good. And I've got those AMX 30 Rolands, which everybody kind of tends to overlook these, but they are cheap. They've got a range of 2,800 against choppers, and they are got a little bit of armor as well against artillery pieces and things like that.
A good point.
Yeah, and I've got the Roland 3s. I've got the FRP Roland 3s for long range. Stick the AMX 30s in front of the Roland 3s to try and stun the planes before they get close to our Rolands. I do attempt to micro my radar AA, but I'm not the best at micro, but I do it okay. And then I've got some mortars, the kind of cheaper ones, the PZ MRS M113s. They've still got a good range of 7,700. And I've got the Caesars, although I am often tempted to switch them out for the Mars, I have to admit, because the Mars are just so good against tanks and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. What does everyone else think? Anybody got anything a little bit different?
I feel like every time I play a game where I could have a Mars, I really wish I had gotten a Mars. That's usually what I'm thinking, especially if you hit those players that really love their smirches. It's good to have something that you can kind of hit them back with, and also definitely Crotals. You cannot beat the range on helicopters with those Crotals. I always have those in there at least.
Yeah,
that's basically it.
Yeah, the only thing I hate about Crotals is they run out of ammo so fast, but they are decently, well, they're very accurate, actually, 60%. They've only got 4 missiles, but if you bring a supply truck with them, they can do some serious damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So should we move on to the tanks? Everyone loves the tanks, so we're all going to have a say here, I think. So we'll start with BoltSauce, though. What do you think about the tanks, BoltSauce?
I think the tanks are really well balanced, especially if you go for EuroCorps. And like my first tank and cheapest tank is the KPZ-70 Kyler, basically.
Yeah.
To support. To basically do a lot of damage to infantry in like the initial part of the game. Then I have some Leopard 2A1s as a medium/heavier tank. It's 105 points, but has like a gray cannon and quite a good front armor as well.
Yeah.
And then my heaviest tank, of course, is actually Leopard 2A5 to basically bro down with the heavier Red 4 tanks.
Yeah. And they're your 3 tanks, are they? You've got 3 slots?
Yep, only 3 slots.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've got 3 slots. I've got the Kylers. I really like the Kylers because they're not too expensive. They've got an okay gun. It's not the best in the world. The armor's not the best in the world either, but I like the autocannon, can shoot at ground infantry, lightly armored vehicles, can take them apart, and can shoot at helicopters as well. That's why I like the Kylers. I've also got my kind of medium price. I go for sort of a cheap tank, a medium price tank, and a hefty tank. The medium one I've gone for is the Leopard 2A4. And I like this because it's not that much worse than the 2A5. It's well armoured. It's got, I think, almost the same gun, just the accuracy is slightly less than the 2A5, I think. I'll have to check that. But I think it's a really nice tank for the price of 135 points. And then I've got the 2A5s just because they're the most expensive tank and I want them in my deck. What about other people? What have you got?
Well, I'm a bit of a tank noob. I love my tanks, love my armor. So I actually filled up all 5 slots for this. I brought the two Leclercs. I got my 3 2A4s, 1 2A5, 6 AMX40s, and 8 Kylers.
Damn.
So I really like the Kylers and the AMX40s basically because they're infantry stoppers. They're basically infantry stoppers. If you got them in the tree lines, if you got them, they're kind of like, I feel like the BMPTs of Blue 4. Like, I feel like I'm if I had to, I would feel okay with putting them into the woods. I'd feel okay putting them into somewhat of a tree line because they can hit the transports. They can get rid of those BTR 90s pretty easily. They can get rid of like what else? SPW 80s, I think, with the good cannons on them, and they can also shoot up the infantry pretty easily as well. And then obviously, I don't think I need to say too much about the Leclerc and 2A5 and 2A4s. Those are some of the best hitting tanks in the game.
Yeah. What about you, Raptor? What's your favourite tank?
Well, obviously it's got to be between that 2A5 and the 2A4, and obviously you want the 2A5, but the 2A4 shouldn't be underestimated either. And same with the Leo 1A5 as well. You know, you want to combine with tanks. You don't want to just buy the biggest and best because you can still be killed from the air or from behind or from the sides. A tank really is only as deadly as whatever direction it's pointing in. So obviously you want to have a number of them. And as you guys were saying, I mean, I completely agree with Nolan that AMX-40 or really anything French with an autocannon in it is really going to help defend that tank against lighter vehicles and a push with infantry. And the Kyler just can't be ignored either. So obviously you want to, there are big jumps in German armor from, like, for instance, the 1A2 and the 1A4. Like, there's a small price increase, but the accuracy is just tremendous and the range as well. So if you're playing earlier decks, you may want to always consider putting in a different tank when it comes to the Leo line, but never underestimate the power of that AMX-40 and really the AMX line. It's a lot of people like to refer to it as a glass cannon, but the enemy's not going to destroy it if they can't see it, and if they get killed before they get to it, you're a winner.
Sure, interesting. Thanks. So should we move on to the Recon? And I think
I don't know what that is. Bubble. What is it? I really don't know.
What's that?
What tab is this? Rec?
What?
REC.
The DLC?
Recon.
I am recording. I'm pretty sure I'm recording. There we go. All right. Anyway, so this is my tab.
Yeah, go for it.
Basically, I'll just go down the line here. I find Recon very. I actually do find Recon very important. I always make sure I do fill this out pretty quickly. So I go for the VBL Mistrals, the PA-2 Tigers, Commando Paras, and specifically the 330H Pirates, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then I also go for the 4 Lukes, just so I can hit all different types. If I want to make sure that I can hit anything, if I want to go with the Airborne Assault, I got my PA-2s, and then also I'll probably send some Commandos with them. And then if I want to go for the tank push, I'll make sure I send the Lukes and the Mistral, maybe even a Tiger above them. It's just a well-rounded, make sure that you have Recon with you at all times. Specifically with the Mistral, I like how it's got the very good optics as well as obviously the Mistrals. So you can go hide that in a tree line, and then if someone gets a little bit too cocky with their cooler or something, it can take it out. Yep. And then obviously the PA-2 Tiger doesn't have the cannon, which is sometimes regretful, but you do have the Stingers, you do have the ATGMs and the rockets. They're very useful, as well as obviously the exceptional optics. And then obviously the Commandos Para, well, not obviously, but the Commandos Para I do like very much, because for those maps where there might be naval, or if there's a little bit of a stretched, maybe if there isn't even naval, but there's an island out there, you just kind of want to put some Recon out there just to make sure you know what's coming. I could put the Commandos Para out there, and obviously for Recon, but then the Pirate, I always make sure I put the Pirates with them, because if you meet the other team that bring out their MI2 with some kind of Recon unit in it, it can shoot it down, and it'll actually have the power to shoot it down before they can land, or even hit the squad that they put down. Obviously, if you find some man pads out there, you're out of luck, but if you do meet that 1 or 2 helicopters that might have Recon in it, you're going to be able to take them out pretty easily. And then the Lukes is just solid. It's really fast. I can move it around quickly. Actually, do some suicide runs, I guess, if I wanted to get some eyes on. If I really wanted to see that retreating Twardy or something, maybe get some eyes on, then it's really useful for that.
Yeah, it's got a nice little autocannon, and it's amphibious as well, so you can go across the water with it also.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got the Mistral. I think the Mistral is one of the best units in the EuroCorps deck. It might be a bit controversial, but I just think it's a fantastic unit to have something to bring out at the start that's got very good like optics and can fire AA missiles and can go across the water as well with a small amount of armor. I think it's a really, really nice unit. I've definitely got that in my deck. And I've got the Hussards 85s in Vabs. That's just their space fillers, really, so that I can just dot them around where I need them, just to keep an eye on what the enemy's doing, even on the flanks and things. And then I've got the PAH2 Tigers, of course, as well. So I've got a chopper, a little truck, and also some infantry. And that's my recon. Has anyone else got anything a bit different?
No, pretty much the same.
Yeah, I'd have to agree that that's got to be the backbone of the force, is the Mistral with the Luke's A1. That's really what you want to do. And I agree with you too. The Hussards, especially in a chopper or something, to get around, whether you're picking 85 or just the standard, that's really effective to try to get around the enemy, try to see what's in the back. And of course, if you ever spot a command, or if you spot the enemy trying to resupply their units or something, and even if you don't have artillery, if you can help a teammate land a hit like that, that's a victory for everybody. So being able to do that and getting behind the enemy, and also, as you were saying, Nolan, with the VBL Mistral, a cocky player with a some sort of an attempt at a flank or something like that, that can be completely grounded with a 55-point unit that they can't see, or early detection and getting out some helicopters or air support to knock that down right away. A good point.
Sure, thanks. So shall we move on to the vehicles? Bolt, I think you were going to have a go at these. Was it you? I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Go for it.
I only have 2 vehicles in this one. It is the Marder VTSI, or VTS, yeah, it's the 1 actually. The Marder VTS-1, which is like a 25-point anti-tank vehicle. It's like, for 25 points you get something with 15 AP, and actually quite a good rate of fire for that many, or that price. And I've seen these things kill like heavy tanks from the side, and you basically got like 500% the worth of this in like 1 kill. And,
yeah, I guess if they can get nice and close, they're going to do some serious damage because they've got KE rounds, and also a little bit of armor as well. I noticed, yeah.
Yep, 4 armor. And the thing with like AP, if you get really close, some of them with like 20 AP, face to face at point blank range is like 30 AP. So this thing will have like 20-25 AP when it's like really close to an enemy tank, and just take it out with 1 shot.
Cool.
And besides that, I have the Fab Mephisto. Mephisto, which is the ATGM vehicle that the French have. It has 12 HOT-1 missiles, which are actually quite fast ATGMs with 22 AP. The accuracy is a bit low, so if you like to have like a more accurate ATGM vehicle, I would probably go for the Jaguar too. But I just like the AP power of the Mephisto. Like when it hits, it absolutely wrecks. And you might ask why I don't go for the Weasel 1-202. It's basically because of the speed, I guess. Like the Mephisto can just rush up to the enemy, fire a few missiles, and then just basically get out of there real quick.
Yeah, for sure. That is a powerful weapon as long as it doesn't get spotted and targeted. That Mephisto, just fire it, get a launch off on a tank, and then just move its position. Of course, again, it's amphibious. You mustn't forget the amphibious nature of some of those vehicles, so you can get them across rivers and things, and it's pretty fast as well. I've only got 1 vehicle. I don't know, this might be a controversial choice, and I like them. Again, I'm saying back to European Escalation and Airland Battle. I've gone for the AMX 10P Milans. The reason I've got these is because they're cheap. They haven't got the best ATGM, but they have got 12 missiles, so they can keep firing, and they'll get a hit eventually. And they've got a nice little autocannon that can fire at helicopters as well. So you can, if you're under a bit of pressure, you can sneak these into tree lines and things, and just try to slow the enemy down if they're pushing forward or anything like that. That's why I've got them. I was tossing up between those and the Jaguar 2s actually, and I chose those.
That's funny because I do have this up recording. I was hovering over that, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder if he's going to go with the AMX 10, because that I don't have anything in my vehicle tab for this specific deck, but that is what I do go for. Yeah. Because they are good. They are kind of they're kind of a well-rounded unit somewhat for just 30 points, and then if you kind of had just that extra points kind of laying around, it can kind of handle it can handle tanks somewhat, and it can also handle infantry somewhat for 30 points. So I actually do go for those fairly often. I've seen. Although the Martyrs are very good, I used to go with the Martyr VDSIs, or is it VDS1? It's VTS1.
Yeah, VTS1.
Yeah, I used to go with those like almost religiously, but then for some reason I've just seen them fail me quite a few times. I don't know if it's just because I'm an idiot, or if it's I don't know if I'm playing them right maybe, but I've seen like I have more success with the Milans because of the way that I play the game, basically.
Okay, cool. So shall we move on to the helis? Are you okay, Raptor, with that? Are you done? Or
Yeah, well, I would like to mention that,
Yeah.
you know, I do believe that vehicles are extremely important for, it seems more for defense, since if you get the enemy coming at you and you start firing ATGMs, it's a lot easier to hit and destroy them than when they're running away. So whether you're using high accuracy weapons or if you're firing, like your example, the Milan with the 12 missiles, as long as you can keep firing at the enemy, it doesn't always matter if you destroy them or not, but if you get them to turn tail and run, that can be a victory too, since they'll go pay attention elsewhere and you can focus on another attack.
Sure.
Good. It's good.
And to go with that as well, a tactic I've used a couple of times, you do need a lot to be having a lot of points to do this tactic. It needs to be in quite a long game. Is that if you want to do a big tank push, if you have a number of the sort of ATGM vehicles in tree lines, if your tanks do get damaged, you can pull them back behind the ATGMs, get them buffed up, and then just go again because they can't push through the line of ATGM units very quickly.
That, and they'll be focusing on the tanks they've already hurt.
Yeah, sure.
They're
That
probably
just
not
looks
gonna be
cool. To have,
focusing.
like,
Yep.
yeah.
Cool. Okay, so let's move on to the helis. Who's doing the helis? I think that was I am noise. No, yeah, I'm noise.
I
Again,
thought it was me.
Yeah, I think it's you going for these. What have you
All
got
right.
for the helis?
So this specific deck, I love EuroCorps, but this specific deck, just overall deck, I have my 3 Celtics and my 2 Tiger Hads. And it really is, a lot of this stuff is really based on how you want to play that specific map. I think with my setup, I probably have 3 just EuroCorps decks, just basic EuroCorps decks, just based on what map I'm playing on specifically, like how I want to play that map or just that game specifically.
Yeah.
But with this one, it's kind of a well-rounded. I know that France has the Celtics, and these are very, very good anti-helo choppers. So just as kind of a support thing, I always make sure to grab these, at least if not just for me, just for the team, because I'll just chuck maybe 1 or 2, maybe even 3 of them all at once at the beginning, just to kind of counter where I think they might throw their helo rush with their Mi-24s and their Akulas and their KF-2s and whatnot. And then also with the Tiger Hads, just a really solid anti-vehicle, just good attack helicopter in general. But also another thing is that if I was going to go for airborne, if this was an airborne unique deck, or even if it was just kind of airborne in mind, something I've done somewhat recently, and it works very well unless the person's very much on top of it and they're paying attention a lot, is I grab the Cassiopes, I grab as many I do grab as many Celtics, but I think I'm going to go back on that and actually grab 3 Celtics and then the German Stinger helicopters. And the reason I do that is because when I see the rush coming at me with their Mi-24Vs or their Akulas or whatever it might be, I throw the Cassiopes just at them in a wall, and then they'll use, if not a ton, all of their Iglas on them, and then here come the Celtics. And then if there's more, I would even send the bows first before my Celtics, just to make sure I get rid of them, and then I would have infantry as support and their transport choppers behind that.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm quite as organised to be able to do that myself, but yeah, a good tactic if you can manage to pull all that off. Yeah, brilliant. I've actually gone for exactly the same choppers as you, though. You said at the start, I've got the Gazelle Celtics. I've got 4 trained though instead of 3 hardened, and I've gone for the Tiger Hads just as my staple attack chopper that can do a little bit of everything. I was tossing up between the Gazelle Celtics and the Tiger Haps, but I went for the Celtics over the Haps just for price, and I've already got a rocket pod on the Hads anyway, so I went for the Celtics instead, or Celtics, however you pronounce it. Yeah, interesting. Other guys, what have you gone for?
Pretty much the same helis, I think, as Nolan, but instead of Cassiopes, I basically have like 2 Tigers and 1 Celtic card. Yeah. And what I do with the Celtics is basically like have 1 in the front and then follow with 2 Tiger Habs. And this worked out like game after game where everyone basically focused on the Celtic, and the Celtic still manages to like get fire off 1 or 2 Mistrals. Yeah. And then the Tigers with their like good stealth and really good Mistrals basically took down everything. Like I think I did a game with Nolan where I took down like 4 Z9 TY90s, the Chinese AA helis. And then after that also like a few transports with only 2 of these Tiger Haps.
Cool.
With that stealth, the enemy basically cannot see you even if you fire at them, which is great.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you got anything to add, Raptor?
I'd say I would probably always choose the Tiger Had over the Hap because I would just rather have that sort of power aimed towards the ground rather than the air. If you're fighting something air to air, I always feel like I'm going to lose. So I would stick with the Celtics for the AA, or even maybe even bringing it to the Bow 1005 BSH.
Yeah, yeah.
I
can tell you're a European escalation and a veteran.
With my love for the bows.
No, because your preference for ground-based anti-air rather than using air and stuff like that.
The Celtic's a good unit for the air-to-air, but if I had to, I would always choose to be on the ground to take out the aircraft. I always stay back with the air, but if you can get a hole in the enemy and take advantage of that, the Tiger Had's going to be where you want to be with.
Cool. Brilliant. Okay, on to the aircraft. Really really looking forward to doing this one with you guys. See what aircraft you bring out. BoltSauce, do you want to head off with the aircraft?
Yep. Well, this is basically I always try to have this basic loadout where I have like 2 cards of ASFs, 1 card of Seed, and then 2 cards of Bombers.
Yeah.
And in this particular deck, I have a card with 1 Rafale's CF1, which is like the best plane in this game. I even prefer it over the PU because it has like this amazing accuracy on the missiles.
65%.
And then to basically help that Rafale out if the enemy use a lot of planes, I have a card of Mirage 2000C RD1s. At least I think that's a 1, could be an I. But yeah, just Mirage 2000Cs, which are really good planes as well. I used to love these in ALB. They were like one of the best planes.
And you get 3 of those as well.
Oh yeah, it's just great. And then for Seed, I have the German Tornado ECR. And I didn't really go for this plane because it has 4 Seed missiles. Like usually when you fire off like 2 of them, it's already, time to go because the enemy scrambled like 10 jets to kill it.
Right.
So yeah.
But they shoot quick. They
do shoot quick, but you would have to either circle twice or like go along the front line kind of. But sometimes I switch it out for the Jaguar A if I'm playing on a smaller map. But if it's like a huge map, I like the speed of the Tornado and like the amount of missiles. But yeah, it's just a good Seed missile overall with that ECM.
Yeah, I mean, with all my planes, if they've got F-Fire and Forget missiles, I always prefer them personally to have 2 missiles and not 4, because I do like them to evac as soon as they've shot them, because I'm not that brilliant at microing, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, the Jaguar A might be better for that then.
Yeah. What else have you got?
Well, the rest is basically 2 cards of Bombers, which is the Mirage 111 or IIIC and the Mirage 5F. And sometimes I kind of like swap the Mirage, the Napalmer out for the cluster, which is the F1 CT. I just call it FICT, I don't know, which has those 6 cluster bombs, which is great against tanks.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah, I've gone for the Rafales as well, but I've got 2 cards because I know they're the best. I know they're the best plane in the game, so I've got 2 of them, just in case I lose one. I've got Tornado IDSs for my bombers. I find they're quite good because they've got 30% ECM and they're really, really fast as well. Yep. And then I've got the Super SN Dard SEM because I like to have an anti-tank aircraft. They do often get shot down, but they're 90 points, and you can stand a really good chance of taking down like a BU or something with these things. You'll lose the plane, but you'll take out a really big tank with them at the same time. What does everyone else think?
I pretty much had exactly what you had. I actually dropped the one of the Rafaels for 2 Kiwis, and I feel like it's kind of just a easier. Even though the one Rafael may be even better than 2 Kiwis, I feel better going into a fight, or I feel better if I have a B5 coming at me if I have 2 planes more than one. Even if that one plane is a Rafael, I feel like having the 2 Kiwis over just one Rafael. Yeah, it's just I feel better having that. Yeah. And then also I do go for the IDS if I want the bombers because of the ECR mainly. I know it gets out a lot quicker. And then the ECR I do really like the ECR. I don't have it in this deck, but I do like the ECR because it's just the way that I make my planes. Actually, I was about to do a video on this soon about how to run really good seed runs well, and it's always with the ECR. It's a prime example because of how quickly it shoots.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of messing around with seed planes while I've been playing, obviously, and I feel like the ECR is the best seed plane in the game. Next to the Raven, but it also has the 4 aims on it too. I feel like it shoots really, really quick. It's really effective, and also if you bring it in behind those IDSs, obviously it'll do its job with the seed missiles, the 4 of them, even though it does shoot 2 at one target. But maybe obviously it just has a better chance of not missing. You kill that Tunguska or that Buck M1 or whatever you're shooting at.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Raptor?
I think my favorite is the... sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
I have to go ahead.
Yeah. Ahead.
I think I would stick to using some of that higher tier things as well. I think my micro on aircraft is 4, and thus, you've got your options of either A, spamming the Alpha jets for napalm bombs to try to delay the enemy, or you've got to bring out the one thing and manage it well. Now with the French and the Germans, they've got a lot of multi-role aircraft. You've got your Mirages that they're air superiority, but of course they're armed with like the you got your semi-active radar missiles and infrared, which are great. But alongside that, I think I would agree with you bringing that. You said the FIC 200. Is that what you said? Or did you say the 2000C?
The 2000C RDI.
Okay.
The F1C is also great. It's like a really cheap, really good air superiority fighter.
I would say in addition to that, you always have to escort your high-end fighters with some lower-end stuff as well, just to kind of give the enemy more to shoot at, to save that aircraft and to show your dominance on the field. So a couple of those with Raphael, with the ECR there, if you can manage it, or toss it up however you want. I think that's great to maintain that air superiority to make sure the battle stays on the ground. And of course, I'm very surprised none of us had mentioned the Peace Rhine yet, because that's a unit I've just seen tear up enemy tanks time and time again. I cannot keep track of how many times I have seen specifically T-72s of all different modifications just bow down to the 2 infrared missiles that this thing can fire. They seem to always hit, even though that accuracy is at 50. And it's quite a good fighter.
Yeah, I'm just comparing that to the Super Etendard that I've got actually, and it is more 120 points, but I can see your point. It's got exactly the same anti-tank missile, but it can defend itself. It's got the AIM 9L missiles as well that it can shoot at close range. So yeah, that's an interesting sort of alternative to the Peace Rhine with that extra bit of defense that it's got for itself.
It is faster as well, 900 instead of 750.
Indeed it is, yes, you're right, yeah. Which makes a big difference when you're flying in trying to take a tank being shot at by anti-air, yeah.
Right.
To me, it's kind of a toss-up because with most of the planes, especially the Peace Rhine, it shoots both of them at once, right? Probably most likely at the same target, unless you're really, really good with the micro.
Yep.
Yeah, so I figured that even though it's down on 10 ECM, I would actually go for the Entard more of the times, because most of the time when you try to throw an ATGM plane at a tank, like 90%, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just an idiot, but it's kind of like a last base, like, oh crap, this Twardy is going to get up next to my CV or something, I need to kill this thing. I would much rather have a cheaper plane that still is solid, because just in case you do lose it. I tend to get my ATGM planes into stickier situations than my other planes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It does have a really superior range compared to the Peace Rhine, though, 3,500 meters, which might be really big.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's it for the aircraft. That's about it for the deck as well. Thank you, guys. But I want to do one last thing. I'm going to put this upon you. You have to choose your favourite unit, okay? We can choose the same one if you want. I'll let you have a little think about it by going first.
205.
Hold on. Okay, I won't choose that then. I'm actually going to go...
I just hit my desk.
You can go for something more kind of value for money or something like that. It doesn't have to be the absolute best unit in the game. And I'm going to go for the VBL Mistral personally. I just think it's a fantastic unit. I always bring them out at the start of the game. Because they're recon, anti-air, they can go across the water. They go really fast to the front line, and can take out choppers and all sorts. So that's mine. So I am Noise. You going for the
2A5, yep.
2A5 is your guy?
Yep.
Raptor?
I'd have to say I'm going to have to go with the Tornado ECR, because when it's on your side, it's great, and when it's on the enemy side, it's the first thing you're going to want to kill, especially if you're trying to support your teammates. If you got some sort of AA, you want to make sure that that thing is down, and you're always microing to defend against it. So that Tornado ECR, I love that thing so much.
Cool. And BoltSauce, what's your favorite unit?
In this deck, I would probably go for the Tiger Hap, because in one game it took down like 4 helis, and then later in the game like 2 PUs. So it's just one amazing.
That one.
It's one amazing helicopter. But my all-time favorite from like all decks would probably be the F-16C, KF-16C Block 52 D seed plane, which is just epic.
Okay, brilliant. Well, I'd like to thank you 3 guys for taking the time to come on and do this video. It's been a real pleasure and a learning experience at the same time. Thank you very much, and I will put the descriptions, of course, to your channels in the link below. So please do check out their channels. They've got some fantastic videos on the Wargame, and other RTS games on their channels as well. So thanks very much, guys.
Thank you,
No
Bubba.
problem.
Yep.